I wanted to just highlight one of the solutions, and I'll try to highlight as many as I can, but one of the solutions I talked about earlier where we've seen MetTel wireless backup, or what we call MWB in this case, being deployed. There's a little bit of a network diagram here, shows a primary location, could be retail. We've also seen this in the banking environment. We service many regional banks that utilize these types of solutions for the ATMs. ATMs, again, are devices or machines that are fed by network access. That's how they verify transactions and, of course, do what we ultimately want them to do, which is spit out some cash when we're at the ATM machine. When the primary connection goes down, the way to keep that ATM in service is to have a wireless backup solution in place. And again, we've seen this deployed and we've seen this utilized in retail environments, in banking environments, and in many other environments, including construction sites where this has really been the easiest solution, probably the most flexible for them to move around from location to location. Deployed both because of the speed element, the 4G LTE speeds that are available, of course, low power consumption, but also the security element. When we talk about banking transactions, when we talk about any kind of information exchange within an enterprise ecosystem, we want to make sure that we're always talking about security. And the solutions we've put in place really come out of our many years of existence and providing services to mission-critical organizations like hospitals, healthcare providers, retailers, banks, and the like, all the way up to the federal government, where security is really the underlying need, and cost savings is almost secondary to that. And just a quick network map to show you when I talked about earlier what private IP is, or what's the concept behind being able to really manage data. So in this example, in this map, imagine that any of the bottom sites marked as client locations have a primary router or have a primary data access through a fixed line circuit. If that circuit goes down, you want that location to stay up and running. In this case, you could have all transactions flow through the wireless device and have all that data, instead of going out to the public internet, actually gets consolidated, or once it hits the first tower, the local tower, it actually gets custom routed back to MetTel, because we do have those dedicated connections with the underlying providers. Gets private routed back to MetTel. MetTel then consolidates all that data on its secure MPLS and can drop the data back off at the customer's multiple data centers for full redundancy. That's important because in this example, think of each one of these sites having a different carrier. So think of the first one as Verizon, the second as AT&T, and the third as Sprint. To MetTel, it doesn't matter. All that data through our existing infrastructure and relationships will be consolidated on that MetTel secure MPLS, and from that MPLS, we're going to be handing it off through a established connection with the customer's data center. So in that case, it's important because the customer's data is never compromised. Even if there's some kind of VPN tunnel that's created by the routers and the VPN tunnel fails, that data is still going to remain secure. We're still going to backhaul it in a secure format and deliver it back to the customer site in a secure format. And the last advantage of this type of scenario is the concept of private IP. One of the biggest probably issues that organizations have with these types of devices is they usually put a static public IP on the device. Public static IPs essentially are just that, they're public, which means any of these sites are prone to what's called a ping attack. And a ping attack essentially means a hacker can keep pinging the unit multiple times, thousands of times every second, until the device just fails and goes into a restart mode. In this scenario, you have a private IP address. It's not published on the public internet, and therefore your location is not as prone to any kind of external attack because the network remains private even though it's traveling over the mobile network.